Aloha, everyone. It's the 22nd of September, 2025 on the Neutral Zone. MauiNeutralZone.com, MauiNeutral.zone, coming soon with podcast version of this same thing we do. We are sitting in the studios of our host, KAKU, 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui, simulcast on Akaku, Maui Community Media, TV for oldsters like me. You can also find us at youtube.com/@DreamMaui and the number one. You probably are looking and saying, wait, you got more names and places to go. I've been in confusion for a long time.
We're everywhere.
For a lot of people, because they don't realize all these different things fit together in a way. We don't need these headphones.
I need the headphones, but you don't need the headphones. You still have working ears. You guys see,
this is Scott R Bushnell.
You bet.
My co-host and replacement. You're my summer replacement, like the
I'm just that. Oh yeah, hey, you get over here now.
That's not true. You're
no.
You're out in the field hearing opinions that I often don't go near.
Yeah, I'm hearing it all.
But I also know that where we always come together is we love peace. We care about people, no matter how and what their persuasion or choices, as long as they don't hurt each other.
Exactly.
But we are getting dangerously
close. We've passed the Rubicon, way past it.
Here we are, the 22nd. Yesterday was a funeral for. Some people said he was a prophet. That one really bothered me.
No.
In fact,
he just
when
spoke
this guy
his
said
truth.
to me,
Yeah.
"You're afraid to talk about the truth. He's really a prophet." It's like, wait a minute.
No.
Why are you pushing this on me? Well, because.
Yeah. I followed this kid for 10 years.
Some things I've heard, I haven't really looked in detail. I heard his name, obviously.
No, I followed Charlie for 10 years.
Who would want to kill him? That's outrageous for people.
When you can't win an argument, they're friggin' going to violence. You don't win your argument, you go to violence because I swear it's a spoiled brat syndrome. You don't get what you want, you're going to burn the city, you're going to just throw a tantrum. And that's what I feel like I've been seeing for the last 10 years.
But, I know this doesn't segue. The only thing that segues it all is the outrage I feel inside. Why is our president not de-escalating this?
He's de-escalating it incredibly well.
Well, when he talks about and going after openly
people who have broken the law, absolutely. I can't argue with that.
Closing down a media because a guy said something about opinion. I mean, that is like, it is so playbook
there you go. You're being programmed again, Jason. Change your algorithm.
No, I recognize in Donald Trump that he may have truth in what he says in a lot of things, but he doesn't have one thing.
He doesn't have. The people you listen to are not speaking the truth, Jason.
Personal.
No, Jason. Okay, his house was raided. His attorneys were thrown in jail.
Whose house?
Donald Trump's.
Well, was that after he got out of office and he wouldn't get out of the White House? And then he's finally out and he goes to Mar-a-Lago.
Jason, you're quit spreading lies.
No, here's one lie.
Quit spreading lies.
Well, okay,
that's all you're doing is spreading lies.
Let's stop right here. What's the lie?
What's the lie? He was working with the Department of Internal Affairs to get all the documents moved over. Once the documents went public, they found out that none of them were. He was the president. He declassifies and makes things okay. So you raid his home. You arrest his attorneys. You arrest his friends. Who of Joe Biden or we've not arrested anyone else. That's the weaponization.
I'm stopping right here. First thing, let's start with your issue. And then when you said Joe Biden, I say, I do not compare, or there may be so many things about Joe Biden that if I picked up the rug and smelled the bowl underneath, that I'd be more upset than Donald. It isn't unreasonable for me to guess that's possible.
It's possible.
And it might be real, and because of the way I receive the news,
that's a big part of it.
Prioritize one or the other. Isn't that what we're saying? But I do not go for the style or the implication that when
So,
someone
if
has
someone breaks the law, should they be prosecuted?
You don't.
No, this is the question.
Network.
This is the question. If you break the law, you break the FCC rules, which we follow right here.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Can we be
then what
canceled?
happens?
Can we be canceled? If you're a host of a television show and your boss says do not do this and you do it, does your boss have a right to fire you? By all means.
I'm only reason stopping you is because, well, you like this kind of political. It's not even political.
No, we're having a discussion, and this is what Charlie Kirk did.
No, but yes, I agree. But here's where I don't agree. Again, I back to what I don't agree. What's this?
I just love you, Jason. I just love you, man. I'm waiting for some facts. I'm just waiting for some facts.
Here's my fact.
Okay.
I don't like Donald Trump.
No, you've been programmed. I get that.
Donald, I'm on record. I've known about you since I was a young boy in New York. Now we're both older boys. And I've known about people that have been working with you or in spite of you for many years. And I don't need to or want to get personal because the things that are in question now,
right,
like Jeffrey Epstein and all the horse manure that's been going on.
What a
from
distraction.
All sides.
What a distraction.
And how about, look, we think something like the patron. I looked up patron today to see what it meant for a nonprofit. And Princess Anne Margaret. I was going to say Anne Margaret. God.
Okay, I saw that movie. That
She's
was
a
a
princess
good one.
to me.
Yeah, there you go.
No, but she was now not allowed. They not thanked her for all her help, but she's no longer affiliated or be a patron of these organizations, because she thought Epstein was whatever she said somehow upset somebody who upset somebody. And that opinion, you're telling me,
and that's it right there,
firing of
right
Kimmel
on.
with the
No,
right
Kimmel,
to fire someone.
Kimmel was told not to do something.
I don't talk about those things, but I'm not looking at this. I purposely,
Yeah.
I'm not looking for the controversial things that can be.
Everybody's calling.
You know what bothers me is I know people for years, and if they call me Monday between 11 and 12, I almost want to delete their number.
Interesting, Jason, because yesterday we had the funeral
Yeah.
for Charlie Kirk, a kid I watched his whole thing. I loved it. He went to go, and that's kind of why I come here. I like going into where I know nobody agrees with me, which is really fun.
No, we don't not agree.
No, we see it from a different side.
No, but look at the issues. And
Yeah.
we always realize,
Yeah.
we come out realizing, I love you.
I love you, Jason.
You love me.
Right.
In a loving, respectful way, right?
Right. And you're not going to shoot me.
No,
I
no,
question it sometimes, but maybe you might.
Never. But you would never think that something I said would make you pick up something to hurt.
Never. No.
Or hurt people.
But see, then that's what we're missing, Jason. You and I are doing exactly what Charlie Kirk did.
Yes.
We disagree, but we have a
talk about
conversation. Yes, and that's all he was doing.
So what's nothing wrong with it? I'm not. That's why I say
Yeah,
I don't want to pick on Charlie Kirk as a focus of what we're talking about because
But
it's
society
more
right now,
broad.
the algorithms
Politicians are worried of going out there because someone's going to hurt them.
Okay, let's back up. There's new studies that are being released today that show that we have the highest autism rate in the world in the United States.
What I mean, but this is
okay,
a Bobby
so we're
Kennedy
gonna back up. Now we know that parents who have autistic kids have used certain drugs. Now that study has been done,
all right,
locked in.
So
okay, now we know
parents of the kids
at some point
they've used those drugs with the kids.
Pharmaceuticals when they were growing up.
reading it.
When they were growing up before they were married, they had been using certain
So
psychotropic
the parents have
drugs.
the ADD, have these issues?
No, they were having depression or something else, or when they were younger, the parents just wrote, or the doctors wrote them drugs.
I remember those days.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
literally. I remember.
Literally,
my
I
mother,
do too. I remember those days too.
I remember that they would solve things by giving
Exactly.
someone another.
Now, just like our food supply, they're finding out downstream here that that kids who have parents, one or two parents that have used prescribed medication, have an extraordinary high chance of having ADHD. Why do we have 1 in 10 kids instead of 1 in 2,000? That drug line. They've singled it out, a bunch of drugs that are no longer legal, but were legal forever up until just a few years ago. And now all of a sudden so here we are. We have people who have used this. We have an entire system of information that knows how to use cognitive behavioral change as a weapon. So if your algorithm tells you something and you're just talking and then your phone says, do you want to buy this here or there? And all of a sudden you're like, where'd that come from? That algorithm has the chance. When I teach behavioral change, which I do with my swimming because I work with people who have never
AlohaSwimLessons.com.
I've been doing this my entire life. It's cognitive behavioral change. You incrementally, very, very, very slowly get somebody in the water.
You're like fish, a frog in a pot.
Yeah, you're slowly. I'm not going to kill my swimmers, Jason.
No, but
boil them. Right. Yeah. It's a very.
Notice look how clever. See, he's clever. Watch this. We were talking about violence and politics and stuff, but he switched into cognitive behavior.
Okay.
And we're talking about health now. He knows that I'm really a strong supporter of natural medicine. So
Absolutely.
He took my passion, and now we're talking about how I agree, and he's going to bundle that.
Well,
because that's what I see happening is the levels of things going on now
the anger of people
using certain things to be able to
manipulate the population.
But Trump is doing it through this. If you ask Trump, he probably was a Bobby Kennedy fan from way back. And
they've been friends for decades.
Again, you and I both don't know that. We only know he would.
No,
Epstein.
I've read Bobby's books.
And he's been friends with everybody.
He was a businessman. Yeah,
I understand.
You have to be.
But how do again? I go off into
six
bankruptcies.
Jason, where I'm trying to get to you, Jason, is how did somebody as loving and caring as you and so many people that I know who have never had a harsh word about anyone in their life get manipulated into believing something that somebody else said? Cognitive behavioral change. You hear it here, you hear it here, you hear it here, you hear it here, you hear it here. It's repeated enough times.
Why is that not both ways at the same time, though? Why is it
because
being brought out as something new?
Your algorithm, which is a very, very small, very small minority. You're part of a very, very small minority that has that algorithm that has been radicalized by that. And if you, on top of that, have other underlying issues, you can be easily radicalized. If the Muslim community and the violent Muslim community, not the Muslim community as a whole, which is a very loving group, has their fringes which have been radicalized. The KGB weaponized this. I did my graduate studies in terrorism. I studied the Irish Republic and Army and what was going on in Ireland. That was a very strange thing. There wasn't a lot of this manipulation, but at the same time, I was studying what the KGB was doing. When the KGB went into Cuba, they went in and built schools, made food supplies. When they went into South America during the Contra pieces, the KGB were down there building schools. They were supplying books. They were doing the cognitive behavioral model that gave them their inset. What China is doing right now with cognitive behavioral change, they are building highways. They are building a highway straight through the center of Africa.
Right.
And they're building places for people to work. They're supplying food. That is a cognitive behavioral model, which used to be called colonialism.
So why are we, now that we know that that's what it is, and that we are being
played.
Now, again, I take that word gently
Both
because we don't know where the truth really is.
Absolutely, Jason, I absolutely agree with that. But I know that the algorithms are pitting two groups of people against each other.
What does that have to do with taking and making it more and more fear, create more fear to speak out against the leader? Where is that,
Jason?
Anything, whether it's through a media, wherever, where is it that we can't, Charlie Kirk, Jimmy Kimmel, all of us, why are we putting ourselves in a condition as a society?
Well, Jimmy Kimmel is not Charlie Kirk. Jimmy Kimmel was a comedian.
But he was expressing, although when
he had a contract to do a job, to sell commercials. He wasn't doing it. He was failing.
Well, again, there's a breakdown, as we know, in the way the television industry transitioned to digital. They got swamped by everybody else.
They're gone.
Their advertising thing got shredded.
Failed. Yeah.
So when you have contracts with big, fat, juicy contracts like these guys, finding reasons to want to have to let them go
you have
be to their advantage, right?
And that's business. If you don't innovate, you fail.
Is it also to an advantage to have a very, very wealthy man give to his kid enough money to buy a network? Well, wait, what? Wasn't the same island Rupert Murdoch? No, that was David Murdoch.
And you know what? Let's make it small,
very
Jason.
Big deal.
Let's make it small.
Hundreds
of years. Is it fair that hundreds of years ago that a shoemaker who had a great skill at making shoes passed that skill on to his kids, who passed it on to their kids, and at that time in history, shoemakers were thought of as wealthy people. So nothing's changed. If you talk about how much they make, if you were a farmer and a cobbler was over here making shoes, they were a wealthy person because they had a skill and they passed it on to their children. That's not an argument. What you're talking about is Marxism and not allowing that to happen.
Oh, well, I sit here and when I hear a trigger word like Marxism, he knows how to spark me.
But it is, Jason.
But
it is.
Look,
you cannot be angry at anybody.
Let's start. Let's use the word Marxism. And when I say these characteristics through history and in very specifics are fascism, and you go, oh, no, let me talk about cognitive way you've been taught.
Okay.
I have a problem because I feel manipulated in that. Why are we playing with the differences when we should go to the issue that's the source, which is are any of us choosing to pick up weapons against each other?
Only one side's picking up weapons.
Well, again, there is no side. Where do you get this idea there's a side?
Well, I don't see. After Charlie Kirk was murdered, was there rioting in the streets and burning of businesses? No.
So what does that mean? So you're going to say, well, the Democrats, or you're going to say the other side?
It's not the Democrats. It's a radical fringe who's trying to control this country. And once we accept that...
No, I know. Well, again, I think that the radical fringe is left, right, and center. There can be fringe in the center, in my experience.
Let's talk. I teach this in my classes over at Children and Families, and I teach it at jail. Fill a jar.
I love this one.
Fill a jar
with water.
Fill a jar. No.
Then you take the marbles.
No. You fill the jar. You fill a jar just with marbles. Okay. Something bothers you, Jason. Something bothers you. So it shakes your jar and marbles fall out. Okay. If something bothers you or triggers you and shakes your jar and marbles fall out,
You've lost your marbles, right?
You've lost your marbles. No, Jason, that's not the answer.
Oh, that's not it.
What we heard yesterday was internalizing that any hate that you have for anyone else is just a mirror on your soul. We heard that.
Well, we heard that spoken by someone.
We did. We heard it spoken by multiple. We didn't hear it from our president.
No, we didn't.
But we definitely heard it from everyone else.
Yeah, but isn't like that? To me, that is a really important thing you just said. Why is that?
I would have loved to have heard it from him. He's not perfect.
No.
He's your age. He could be, his marbles might be wandering off. Let's go back to the issue, Jason. Let's go back to the issue. Generally, people...
What happened with those marbles in the jar?
The marbles in the jar. There's a big part to that. If you have a moment in your life where you're thinking, I could have been that wealthy, extraordinarily, powerful person, and somewhere deep inside of me, those marbles are popping off and I'm getting angry. Am I getting angry because I missed my chance at being that wealthy person? Or is there something else going on there? You can't be mad at anyone if it isn't inside you somewhere that's unresolved. And that's what I teach in anger management. You cannot be angry at anyone else unless that anger resides inside your heart. So, that said, if something triggers you, and that's been a big, crazy word, it's been thrown around for the last 25 years, triggering you is throwing a marble out, So something inside of you is bothered by a reflection in the mirror that you're seeing with someone that you're angry with. And you know that through MKP, that Mankind Project.
By the way, we're halfway. This is KAKU 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui. You'll also find us on Akaku, Maui Community Media. You'll also find us, of course, on the phone, Maui Stream.
Yes.
Find us on YouTube.
Yeah, call in. Call in. We'd love to have a caller. Somebody call.
Everyone says, I heard at a producers meeting up. By the way, you have a knack. Maybe because it's probably what you do.
Yeah.
But I really feel like the basic issue is the one to talk about, of letting people know what you just said about forgiveness, and otherwise you hold it in your heart. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
The more words, cognitive is hard for people to swallow.
So, but it's changing your heart, and that's what it is. And that was Charlie's message. That's been the message of many people.
But that is not left or right.
It is not, and he never was.
No, and neither am I. That's
he
why
was.
I'm
he
saying
was. He was kind of an
the thing about Marx. You use the word Marxist. It's like,
well, when you
wait a minute, what happened here?
When you have a group of people,
description. Let's aim at those guys.
If you have a group of people who feels very unfulfilled in their life, it's very easy again to be manipulated into hating somebody with money, or hating somebody that has coveting. If we just go back to the 10 Commandments, covet your neighbor's wife, covet your neighbor's goods. Okay, breaking down, if you're angry with Elon Musk or with somebody like that has tons of money, that's basically just coveting something that you don't have. And this is a real reach for me to go out on a biblical note here, even though, my history.
Don't worry, you're not out yet.
So, it comes from inside of you. So if there's a reflection inside of you that says, I'm driving a Subaru with 220,000 miles on it, and I am blessed to have that car and have it running, even though I see friends and even young people driving new cars, it's like, well, that's a blessing to them. It's not I don't look at that as my insecurity and say, well, they don't deserve it. No, I say that's great that they work for that and they got that vehicle.
Well, you're ahead of me.
Yeah.
I don't spend the energy judging them and saying that's great for them. I don't know.
Well, no, when somebody gets a new car,
so
I'm like excited
for them. You talk about that
them.
and you're talking cars, and I'm thinking, let's see.
We both drive POSs.
1920. I don't care what anyone thinks. I remember when the mayor at the time went, "Hey, Jason," at the Grand Wailea, and Ariel and I were laughing because we had this beaten up. It reminded me when I remember years ago, we were driving an old car. Jack Nicholson and Warren Beatty went to some award show in some old beat-up car.
I remember that, yeah.
And they made it an issue. Like, these guys didn't care.
They're regular people.
They're just regular. Well,
do you know,
I don't care about that
we keep
stuff.
having
the societal. We keep going back to societal change. We keep getting back to take a look in your heart. Whatever religion you are, you like to pick on the Christians because they had a. But those doctrines are obviously universal. Those doctrines,
they're
right?
universal. You can't, all the 10 Commandments, you can take those through Buddhism, you can take them through Catholicism, you can take them through everywhere. The Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, they're there.
Isn't that great to know that when truth is watered down, when it all comes down to it,
it's all the same. Right. And that was, I had a Catholic education. I went to Catholic school. My fingers haven't quite recovered yet. But the beauty of what I went to Catholic school is we studied the Bhagavad Gita. We studied the Hindu book of prayer. We studied Buddhism. We studied the teachings of Muhammad. We studied all of that because you can't understand your religion until you understand how everyone else is seeing God. So to do that, you have to look inside yourself. And basically these nuns, which were really badass nuns in their day, dissected this and said, okay, we agree on so many things. We might disagree on this and this, but we're all kind of going to the right place. Jason, now wait. So we have lost in our country the idea that we all want the same thing. We all want the American dream, but we just can't agree on who's driving the bus.
Isn't that what this show is about?
It is.
Isn't it?
I've listened to Charlie Kirk for 10 years. What we do, spot on to what he was doing. He had a beautiful belief system, a Christian belief system, which I didn't always agree with all the tenets, but I agreed with he felt deep in his heart, I believe that if you can live your life like this, you'll feel so fulfilled because I am. And that was his message. It wasn't that was his belief. It was the teachings of the church that he believed in that made his life feel so good. And that's why he was killed. We have more martyrs since the year 2000, since year 2000 to 2001, we've had more martyrs in the Catholic Church, martyrs dying for their faith, than we've had it throughout the entire history of the world. We are having nuns and priests killed across the world at a record rate in Africa. We're losing, 300-400 priests a year who have been martyred in Africa.
That's extraordinary.
See, these things we never hear about. Pope Leo actually talked about that the other day, and I was like, kidding me? And he's naming all these names, these modern-day martyrs. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know this. I remember Mother Teresa coming to talk to my little Catholic school in Portland, Oregon, up on a hill. I was only 6.
You had me hold one. I'm ready to.
And it was like, and she was talking about how hard it was for the nuns to come in and help these people and bring them food, and then they would still kill them because they were bringing them food. They found the world hasn't changed, but our heart. The only thing that can change.
I killed you because I'm a scorpion, right? I wrote on your back or cross, but too bad. It's my nature. Is that the same thing?
Know that you have a black pair of boots and a whip. We know your secrets, Jason.
But do you think that people? We often come about that. We're trying to make changes or get people to reshift. That at a level of our whole society?
But
here,
no, okay. See,
put down the guns and rifles and sit like we do and talk in a neutral
our premise
zone.
is great. It's a neutral zone. But what you just said in the context, we want to change those people. That can't happen. You have to change your own heart and be that.
So that's what I was saying.
Right, and we're there. We're on the the same page, Jason.
We talk about it different ways, but I don't expect them to change. They have to commit to that change. That's why I often look in the camera.
Them, yes.
Anyone outside that I'm just saying that I don't. Look, what's that expression? Don't think my gentleness is weakness.
No.
If someone's coming at me trying to kill me or mine, I will pick up a weapon and I will use
absolutely.
it. But that doesn't mean I want to or I'm leaning in.
No, not even close. No.
I'd like to think that knowing from history, people would realize how precious and how critical. This is a critical point in history.
It is. It's a turning point. We have almost 1 billion views of what was on yesterday. A billion.
That's incredible.
The most in the history of the world. 1 billion people watched through streams, television. 1 billion people in Korea, people all across the world watched what happened.
I got
yesterday.
a picture from the stadium, and football stadium
2
filled.
football stadiums filled. They had it simulcast on the other field.
Oh, really? God.
Yeah.
That field is big. Arizona, that's where it was. I know.
Yeah, they filled both of them.
Wow.
Yeah, but they could only do security for the indoor.
When you say yesterday, you mean the day before, right?
Oh, yeah, it's Tuesday. Yeah, it's a retired thing.
No, today's Monday.
This retired thing. Oh, it is
This was
Monday.
a Saturday
No, this was
deal.
yesterday.
It was Saturday.
It was yesterday. No, I watched all 4 hours
So
of
what
it.
was the day before? That was just the political talk and everybody talking the day before?
I don't know what Saturday was.
I thought Saturday was the funeral.
It might have been the burial, but the actual service was yesterday.
Well, how come they were
I
talking
missed Mass. Yeah, it was yesterday.
And the day before, just, on Saturday.
Was the lead up. But
there were things, this one spoke, and Vance spoke, and Trump spoke. That was
Saturday.
yesterday.
No, that was yesterday.
Well, there was also Saturday.
I don't
see how crazy it's getting?
I know. It's crazy.
Anyway, that was a lot of people there. I wonder how many of those people didn't like Charlie Kirk but wanted to show that they didn't like
violence. Looking through the crowd, that Turning Point USA, which I honestly, when I was in college and I revolted against all the Democrats in my family and was a Republican. I think I did that in revolt. But actually I did it because Jimmy Carter boycotted the Olympics and I had friends that were swimming that didn't get a chance to go to Moscow. Long story short, I became a Republican back then.
That was your reason?
Yeah. But then I went to meet the chairman of the Oregon Republican Party. I interviewed him for a college paper, and I started listening, and then I started backing up. I went to the library before we had the internet, and I found out that the Republicans were the ones that were the majority that passed the Civil Rights Act. I found out that the actual people who were in power when women got the right to vote were the Republicans that passed that. And I'm finding out all these things that I thought were all Democratic issues were actually Republicans. They were the Lincoln-esque Republicans, not whatever we've got in the White, or whatever we have now. I have no clue
when I came to Hawaii, I thought, wow, the Democrats here are like Republicans and the Republicans here are like Democrats.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
That's what makes me say, why don't we pick the best of both worlds? And that's how I became green. I don't really, they are not different. They seem the same, and they don't really have very much differences. And they left out a couple of those tenets like social justice.
Yeah. Well, that's a brand new word.
Yeah, well, you understand it more than many.
Yeah, but the interesting thing I found in Hawaii, and I made that same observation. I went, how are all my Filipino friends that I was working with at the Hyatt Regency back in the 80s, Democrats, when the Democratic Party went down that abortion line, and I didn't know a single non-Catholic not going to church religiously. Some, their mom would go to church every day, and how they were still staunch Democrats. I was like, something's missing here, because these ladies, when I talk to them and go to dinner,
when I hear things like that, I think, why do we let? Because they would. Is that the abortion issue? I mean, when you say that thing about the Democrats, every time someone mentions political party and values, I come back to why I started this show.
Right.
Because it isn't. That's what I discovered.
Yeah,
it isn't politics. It's the issues.
It's the personal
values.
issues. Right. And and the abortion issue. I honestly spoke at NARAL. I was the only Republican in Oregon back in 1993 to go to the National
Association
of Women for
Republicans.
No, not Republican.
For
reproductive rights. Okay, NARAL. Okay, so I'm the only.
I thought it was something with Republicans against liberals.
No. I went in and spoke and said, we can disagree on a lot of things, but what NARAL needs to work on, and this was the gist of my speech back then in front of thousands of ladies who looked like they walked out of an ashram. They were really nice, and they all came up to me and thanked me. But I said, what we need to work on, and what I would love to see your organization work on, is being able to streamline the ability of people to adopt children. My grandfather was adopted just because his parents died, and he just went to live with, So it used to be much easier than it is today. But we do have a lot of course we need to do background checks. We need to do that. We need to streamline that. When we adopted our daughter, Janelle, my golden girl, that was $40,000, and that was a state-assisted adoption back in 1992. That shouldn't be that way. If we're going to fund doctors to take babies, then we should fund the system so people can adopt kids. There are so many single parents in the world.
Let's say we agree on that.
Yeah.
So now what?
So that's where this is what we're doing. We're talking about something that we probably completely disagree on as far as reproductive rights, but we can agree on we should streamline the service. Why when George Bush went in front of the country and said, we need to streamline the ability for people to immigrate to the United States. He had this bill. I read it. I lobbied for it way back when. George won. I lobbied for it, and I went, and I was like, the Democrats were just pounded it down. A couple of years later, Bill Clinton picks up that same bill, same verbiage on it, and I said, I am going to help Bill Clinton try to get this bill passed. And then the Republicans decided that they didn't like it. This is so tribal and such bull. But we should not have, it should not be hard to move here. We should streamline it. We should make sure we're not bringing in MS-13 gang members. How can
we help?
I do not. Seriously, pick that bill up. George Sr. had this beautiful bill that was going to streamline. It had checks and balances. It had follow-up. They actually had the funding lined up because they would be able to save money on this. It was a brilliant bill. Bill Clinton picked the bill up, and he tried to push it forward. And Speaker Tip O'Neill was fighting him on it. When Tip O'Neill half sponsored the bill when George Bush had it. I want people to be able to become here and become American. You can't move to Germany and become a German. No. You can't move to Italy and become Italian. You can come here and become American.
We have fun here, and you are so good. You jump from here to there and to there. And by the time you get to here, I have no problem with a law or something that I don't know what it is that we can do, so that if they treat the people for this, they should also support that.
Right.
I get that. So
right.
So when we
this
jump
tribalism
is
way back
from there, which is what we should be thinking to do. You jump to examples of when it didn't work, which I appreciate historically is valuable, but we're at that point of crisis. Where we need to be coming together in a way to do something to heal. Isn't that what healing the nation
Right, and that's
means?
what Charlie Kirk was doing.
Well, here we are.
And here we are doing exactly what Charlie Kirk. We are doing it too.
So you want to be Charlie Kirk? I'll be Jason Schwartz.
You can be Jason Schwartz.
No, sincerely.
Well, I am Charlie Kirk. I think I've always gone into the middle.
But you see, the fact that we can talk.
Yeah.
We sometimes get off subject a lot, but we
That's
don't
senior
disagree. So far, I really don't see how, even on these sensitive subjects,
right?
We really come down to not disagreeing.
Not disagreeing, but that doesn't sell commercial time. Let's go back to Jimmy Kimmel. If what he's doing isn't selling commercials, and that's his job to get money for the companies, then you got to let them go.
Yeah, well, it's just not clear to me that when someone is going for a license that requires approval by this agency, and that agency and everything around it is broadcasting how bogus you are.
Yeah. Because it gets views. The algorithm shows that
but
if you and I were to start,
if you were in the network and you'd go, holy heck, how are we going to pass this thing now when we're creating more enemies? Let's do some things. I don't want to say to placate, but we know we're going to have a problem, and I don't want to have to spend $300 skrillion on a new lawsuit. And so let's fire Mr. X. He didn't abide by our contract, but we were letting it happen because we know that we have to have some room for discussion, like we do.
We do.
Like we do.
Jason, get this. If you and I right now, you came over to the table at me and I came over at the table at you and we started hitting, we would have 1 million views by the end of the night.
It could happen.
I know.
Want to do it?
We should plan that shit.
Oh,
yeah, we'll get some get some fake blood and stuff, and we'll just we would have 1 million views.
So I've been doing this for 30 years, and the one thing I didn't do is shoot somebody or cut them or hurt them on the air.
Yeah. Well, but by the way, that's what makes things.
I don't want to forget this. I'm going to probably list it on the show separately, but I had to bring this up.
Oh no, I saw
I'm thinking I don't want to forget by the end. We have a lady here that is so terrific. Her name is Suzy Gastrein. Suzy, Gastrein. She's French, and she is masterful in many things here at the TV station, Akaku Maui Community Media, 333 Dairy Road. This Saturday, there's from 10 to 12. I can't see it. It's 10 to 12, right? This Saturday is a podcast workshop. 12, so if you've thought about doing a podcast or thought, what is a podcast? How do I get started? How can I help someone with podcasts? How can I do my own podcast? What are we going to do with these podcasts? All of that.
Scan the QR code.
This Saturday.
Scan the QR code right here and you've got it. I'll hold this still.
Can you get that? You think it's...
Somebody can blow it up.
Oh, basically, really. Let's see. We'll try to bring it closer.
There you go.
Is that good?
Scan that QR code.
Or, by the time you see that QR code, this Saturday, 10 to 12, 333 Dairy Road, podcast workshop with Suzy. Just hearing Suzy speak and talk the way she does about the world. She's a really gifted and brilliant lady. What a great workshop that's going to be.
Oh, that'd be nice.
They tell us that, she said it too, what we do sort of is a podcast.
We are doing a podcast. No,
So
this is a podcast.
Brand it.
Yeah,
That's why Maui
we got a
Neutral
special
Zone.
room and nice lights and a
makes it.
and a mixing board.
Isn't that like podcast?
It's podcasting. Yeah,
and they put it. Yeah, I know. But
and they mix it all up, and then they change my
there's
words.
Some directory somewhere that says we are podcasts. We're a new category. We're gonna only show podcasts.
Well, you've got a lot of freedom. FCC doesn't quite regulate some of that.
So once again, we go back to all this stuff about regulation.
Yeah, and that was the only thing. Okay, let's go back to the FCC. The only thing the FCC was brought to be is so that each candidate in national and local affairs would have equal airtime. That was the whole. No, that was it. That was all they were there for.
Understood.
Isn't that weird? And now,
because I was going to do a show here, and I started by going to have Nick Heelananda, green guy, first show, and they realized that can't do it. We have to interview everybody to be fair.
Exactly.
And if they're not on here, they're going to go over there, and they have to be given time.
Right.
That's why I gave up that on radio.
Yeah.
Yet on public access, get it? TV, all those things could happen.
Yeah.
But on the radio,
and they're getting more views. I mean, we are seeing the death of television. It's gone.
So when we go back to our buddy Kimmel, there are all kinds of things that could say he broke his
No.
code of work.
No, he didn't do anything that he hasn't been doing
What about
for the
Colbert?
last.
That was just a couple of weeks before.
The
And
shows
they
have
said,
been
"Look, hey,
hemorrhaging money.
The money is hemorrhaging. They could have said the hemorrhaging money here too.
But that didn't sell news time.
It didn't.
No. If you just said
So you
the,
just said
the
it.
guy wasn't bringing enough money, but they didn't sell that because the news would have went snore.
Is that what they did with Stephen Colbert? It sort of went quieter.
Yeah.
But this one, by the way it's done, and then the
Well, and then all the
Donald Trump
memes and all those things
puts
came
the
out, and it was
flames on
just
it.
like, and Donald Trump could have he's so brilliant in so many things and so friggin' stupid in other things.
Yes.
But,
But that was wasn't that a nice admission? It's not really even an admission. It's a realization that we're a neutral zone.
And we're not perfect.
And Donald, if you're listening, I'm going to do the right thing when the time is right. I hope that you will join me.
Yeah, come
in
on
doing
over.
the right thing. In fact, you're welcome to come on the show.
Yeah, and Jason, I want to bring in a guest, and I've been working her kind of slowly, but hopefully she'll be in here. She is a wounded warrior, a Special Forces Air Force lieutenant that I've been working with, and she's so amazing. She has the greatest story how she came to America, 50 plus years ago, and her whole story and how she became this amazing woman. Just amazing. I'm trying to get her to come in and talk. She's brilliant. She's absolutely brilliant.
That's what also happens here. You see why I made him co-host, you see? That sounds like maybe it sounds like nothing to someone, but I met Scott at Mankind Project, which is men trying to get themselves better, to
Get
be a
their
better
marbles
world.
in place.
Put their marbles in place. See, we can laugh about it, but high vision of high ethical
well,
activity,
the MKP is all about men holding each other accountable. And it's not me making a judgment. It's you saying, Jason, if I say to Jason, you call me next week 3 times and make sure I got my ass out of bed and I went and walked my 5 miles or my 8 miles. That's about that accountability. That I'm not telling you to do it. I'm asking you to help me be accountable to myself, and that's what the Mankind Project is about. And it's the indoctrination period is really kind of a rough one because you really have to take great self. I mean, this was 25 years ago for me.
Great self-reflection when you started Mankind.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
it's still the same. It just has a different cover to the book.
Yeah,
because of things in the world, like they change what they do because the Indians were feeling like their culture was getting disrespected.
But we couldn't find any natives.
And we say, wait a minute. Some people say that, and other people say, well, you were being really
respectful.
Someone acquired what you did to put here. Well, it should have been done differently. Yeah.
And I did my training on a reservation. I did my training, my warrior weekend, I did on a reservation.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Were there any Indians in the group?
Yes. We're still friends. The guy is amazing.
That's great.
Yeah, and he thought it was the most respectful thing. And he thought, you've taken parts of our culture.
Mankind Project, we're going to ask you for a contribution.
Yeah, contribution.
Here.
There you go. and it was an amazing. I did it in Gallup, New Mexico. Yeah, and it was. I
did my training, my experience here in Maui, 2017. What was your year?
2001.
Isn't that amazing? That's 25 years ago.
Yeah. I learned so much from it. I mean, I've tried to do the group here. I love them dearly, but tribalism has affected our society. We've forgotten we're all on the same bus. We just getting mad at the bus driver's not going to do anything.
Yesterday there was a season of peace and nonviolence thing.
Yeah.
At Genesis Shelter.
Oh, nice. That's good.
Well, yeah. I know that's interesting because I never spoke to Genesis all this time.
Yeah.
For years.
Years.
I mean, years.
Yeah.
The season of peace and nonviolence at
You'd
a Unity
think
Church.
Jason would be there.
With Mary Omwake, Michael Beckwith, everyone.
Yeah.
And so this is going. So how these things don't continue and get merged. That's what happens in so many things. This one starts their own thing. This one starts their own thing.
Yeah.
And they're all their own.
Yeah.
It's like my notions about mama. You got to learn to be collective in our marketing.
The tribalism we're fighting, it's you and I are, we are the solution. We are the conversation that needs to happen in the world. And it's not happening in the world.
No, but we are.
We are. We're here.
So I cherish the times when we come and we talk. And sometimes you and I straight out don't agree, but when we come down to past all the, you see it this way, I say it this way, we get down to the basic thing, which is, what is the main basic thing?
The conversation,
it's
Jason.
Called, do
it's
not
just
pick
the conversation.
Up weapons.
No. Jason, I walked out back in my political years. There was a fellow trying to take over the Republican Party in Oregon. His name was Lon Mabon. He had this strange church and kind of cult, and he was trying to take over. I actually spoke at 3 or 4 of his events before I got dialed into what the heck was going on. And I walked out at an event in Astoria, Oregon, and there were so many protesters, and we had protection. We got stuff thrown at us. And it was violent. And we're talking 25 years, 30 years ago.
In Oregon.
In Oregon. Violence. Total violence against this man for what he spoke. Horrible. But this isn't new, and it always seems to be from the left. I've never seen people on the right mad about people on the left. For the fringe left. No. I have not seen it. I've tried to document it. I've tried to research it.
So let's say that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so?
No cities burned.
Right. The answer of the thing is, now that we've established.
Yeah,
said,
they need to. They need to articulate. The left needs to articulate what they want. You don't burn a city. What was the outcome?
Left?
I don't understand. This radical fringe that's burning cities.
Organized?
Very. And well funded.
So they're not together.
They're well funded. How do the same printed signs come out in a dozen different cities? Printing those signs is very expensive. I've printed signs for rallies.
You think that it came from central money?
I think it came from central money. Jason, I believe that you and I are, and the people and our friends are being manipulated. I had probably a dozen friends text me in the last 48 hours that are people who absolutely have thought I was crazy saying that we are on the verge of civil war for the last 10 years, saying, Scott, I think you were right. And I'm like, and I have people who are very left-leaning, kind of like a very free speech kind of person like myself, who are going like, this incident with Charlie Kirk has totally pushed me away from the Democratic Party. I said they should have spoken highly against it instead of celebrated it on the House floor like they did.
Well, that's horrible.
That was horrible. And honestly, it took a lot of people who were like questioning where the party was going and their leadership. What happened, and let's go back in history just a short bit. Back during the Tip O'Neill days, back during Clinton, the Democratic Party had some incredibly good leadership. And they had a vision, and they were following that vision. All those folks have died off, and there was no one to pick up the mantle. Bobby Kennedy picked up the mantle, and I really thought he was going to be the torchbearer. I truly did.
And you're talking about Junior.
Yeah, Bobby Jr. And
you're talking then.
And his father.
But again,
his father should have been the one to picking up the torch.
But he was
we had Martin Luther King, who was going to pick up the torch for this next generation, our generation, of the Democratic Party. They killed off the people who are the visionaries for their party. And so now here we are. The Democratic Party has been wandering, trying to find purpose, and the Republican Party has just been stupid. I'm sorry, but they haven't had the vision. You know, Trump has put out a really good vision, even though he muddles it with his words. His vision is good. He wants everyone in the country to be able to afford a home. We brought in 25 million people into this country who totally destroyed the housing market. 25 million new people who are fighting for those low-income homes. You add that in the last 40 years, no wonder.
No, I have no doubt. As we're speaking, that I agree with you on this. But I don't like maybe it's the thing
name
of
calling
you
and the
gotta
pointing
cut
fingers.
off your arm
Yeah.
to save the body. Is that what's happening here?
I don't think so. I think we
They're being
need
really
a
rash at their
resurgence of
direction
leadership.
Of how maybe that's it. We only have a minute and change left. I don't understand why we can't have someone more eloquent. I mean, like you said,
of course,
hopefully
I'll run. If
Charlie
you're
Kirk-
asking me to run for president, I get it. I will.
No, but I am. I'm.
It's not out of my thought process.
No, but whether you run or not, we need to be putting out this.
We need
message.
fresh leadership.
Yes.
We need fresh leadership.
So I hope you'll join me again here, will you?
Oh, I love coming
We only
down
have
here,
a minute
Jason.
left.
Okay.
I hope you realize that we spent a whole hour just jammering back and forth, but
we've never disagreed on anything. We know what we disagree on, but there's so many more things within that primer that we agree on. And that's what we've lost in the country. We've lost the leadership that shows us that we all get along, but we disagree on a lot of.
That's what we've lost. And
yeah.
Mike Johnson, as a speaker, I don't know what he's very masterful at getting people.
You
to
have to
agree.
be. The speaker's job is a very difficult job.
We only have a 30. Oh, I got it. What a job, especially
Tip O'Neill. Tip O'Neill. He was brilliant.
All these guys, all these years. That's some job. I learned that from Joe Suki, who was here as the. Anyway, that's a whole other story.
This has been fun again. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Scott R Bushnell. We are out of here. Isn't that amazing? We're gone so quick. So thank you guys for joining us. I hope you'll be here next week. We've got a terrific guest next week. Aloha, everyone.